Mr. Speaker, a whole civilization will die tonight. Words I never thought I would hear from an American president. And though Donald Trump thankfully didn't follow through this time, these words are a stark reminder of how reckless, immoral, and completely outside the bounds of international law this president is. Regrettably, he is no friend of the United Kingdom. He is no leader of the free world. He is a dangerous and corrupt gangster, and that is how we must treat him. So will the Prime Minister advise the King to call off his state visits to Washington before it's too late? Because I really fear for what Trump might say or do while our King is forced to stand by his side. We cannot put His Majesty in that position. And when it comes to Trump's latest cunning plan to blockade the Strait of Hormuz, that will only escalate this crisis and jeopardise the precarious ceasefire. So it's right that the UK is not joining Trump. And I welcome the Prime Minister convening a summit to offer an alternative to Trump's. We must work with our reliable allies in Europe and the Commonwealth and our partners in the Gulf to bring this conflict to an end and keep open the Strait of Hormuz. That is critical for tackling the cost of living crisis that is getting worse and worse for people in the UK. With petrol prices now up by more than 25p a litre and diesel up 49p since Trump started this war, cheered on, let's not forget, by the leader of the Conservative Party and Reform, does the Prime Minister recognise that families and businesses can't wait months for the government to step in and help? So will he use the windfalls the Treasury is getting from higher fuel prices to cut the cost of living and keep the economy moving, with action to slash bus fares and rail fares and cutting fuel duty by 10p today, bringing down the price at the pumps by 12p a litre?
Can I thank him for his question? And in relation to the language about destroying a civilization, can I really be clear with this House? That was wrong. A threat to Iranian civilians in that way is wrong. These are civilians, let's remember, who've suffered immeasurable harm by the regime in Iran for many, many long years. And that's why they're words and phrases that I would never use on behalf of this government, which is guided by our principles and our values throughout all of this. Mr. Speaker, in relation to the King, the King's visit, the relationship between our two countries is very important on a number of levels, and often what the monarchy is able to do through the bonds that they build is reach through the decades in a situation like this. And the purpose of the visit is to mark the 250th anniversary of the relationship between our country and the United States, and that's why the visit is going ahead. In relation to the blockade, let me be clear, as I've been already in the last day or so, that we are focusing our efforts on opening in full the Strait of Hormuz because of the damage it's doing to economies around the world, including our own economy. That is why we've been working with other countries at various levels, and we'll bring them together in a summit later this week. And we, the UK, will not be joining the blockade that the President announced. In relation to the help that is needed to families and households, obviously we've put in place help for energy bills already and oil heating that is in place. But, Mr. Speaker, we're keeping this under constant review as the situation evolves. The single most important and effective thing we can do is to de-escalate the situation and work with others to get the Strait of Hormuz open. And that is why we're focusing so much of our efforts in that regard.